I should probably start by saying that mediation really is not a one-size-fits-all process. It can, and in many cases should be customized to serve as well as possible the particular contours of the dispute that is in issue and the needs of the parties involved in the dispute. I like to think that the challenge of customizing the process to work well is part of the art and skill of being an effective mediator. Nonetheless, there are these core or basic elements that will be tweaked in the process of trying to set the mediation up, and that's what I'm now going to describe for you. The first step that I describe as entry, or a screening, an agreement to try mediation step. And by that I mean I'm going to be finding out information so that I can judge whether or not I think that this is a case or a conflict that I should be mediating because I'm a good fit for it. Also, whether or not I think it is a dispute that is amenable to resolution. If the parties after this screening process agree to try mediation, we will enter into a written agreement to mediate. And then we move into the next phase called preparation. And this is something that I spend a lot of time working on with the parties and with their lawyers if they're bringing lawyers into the mediation. We want to make sure we have the right people identified and available. We want to have the appropriate information that might be useful in our discussions in the mediation, and we clarify some other details. I'm actually also using this preparation phase to build understanding, to build some mutual trust and clarification of how we will work together. Having gone through these first two steps, we then get to day of the process itself. And this is by and large going to be in person, a joint session. A couple of things start off the session. We review a couple of things that we've agreed on, some ground rules, how we will act during the mediation, how it will unfold. Then each party gets to, I call it storytelling, talk about how he or she views the situation that is in dispute and what that person would like to come out of the process with. I will listen very carefully, and I might ask some clarifying questions. After the individual has finished speaking, I will briefly reframe or summarize back what I've heard. This is a way of making sure that I've heard carefully, and again, that the person speaking feels he or she has been listened to. After that, I quickly summarize the issues that are in dispute and the order that I would suggest taking them up. If the parties agree with that, then we'll get to work. And we get right down into trying to craft some solutions. We do that first by brainstorming, that is getting ideas put forth that might be useful ways to approach a resolution. It's somewhat creative, and it's not judgmental. If you have been involved in brainstorming before, you know you suspend evaluation or judgment of whether you like something or not. We want to get quite a few ideas, if possible, before we start discarding them. And then we work at evaluating them, refining them, seeing what we have. This is a process that I will handle in joint session if it appears to be productive and useful for the parties. If not, we will break up into working separately. I will meet privately with the different parties. We call this caucus. As we go through this, either in joint session or in caucus, as we get closer and closer to a firm resolution, I may bring everyone back together at that point and summarize where it appears that we do have the grounds for a resolution. And we'll start to talk about what the agreement will look like. If lawyers are involved, I have asked lawyers to bring a model or a template with language in advance. That gives us a jump start. It is really for the parties and their lawyers to write the agreement, and I help with it. But again, it is going to be the parties' agreement and the parties' resolution. We may finalize the agreement at that time and the parties sign, and we can talk about some next steps. It might be that this isn't going to be just a one-time process for one day or for half a day. It might be that the parties are going to meet more than once, and we can plan for that.